Right off the bat, I'd like to thank Susan for the honor of delivering these words of remembrance. I hope to do Tom and his family proud. My name is Vince DiCecco, and I am Tom's good friend. Notice I didn't say best friend because Tom had many, many best friends, including all of you and those who couldn't be here today but wanted to. Raise your hand if you think you are Tom's best friend. You wouldn't be wrong if you raised your hand. Go ahead and put them up. Because Tom had the unmatched ability of treating people like they were his best friend. Now, fellow friends, let's see how much you know about Tom. Tom Radek. Before right now, who knew Tom's middle name was Theophil? Tom was born in his beloved Chicago, Illinois on May 21st, 1946, to wonderful Polish Catholic parents and his 6-year older brother, Jerry. After high school, Tom attended and graduated with a degree in business marketing in 1968 from the Jesuit College, John Carroll University, located in a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. It was there that he would meet, on St. Patrick's Day no less, the love of his life, Susan, who was a student at Ursuline College. They were married on November 9th, 1968. You don't need to get your calculators out. That's 54 3/4 years of wedded bliss. Tom is a devoted and unconditionally loving father to his sons, Chris and Brian, his daughter-in-law, Chris's wife, Shelby, and his grandsons, Ryan and Jason. I say he loved unconditionally because I never heard Tom utter a cross word about, well, anyone for that matter. I know I wouldn't have been as understanding and forgiving as Tom was if one of my grandchildren rang up a slew of charges for video games on my computer. When he told me that, I asked Tom, "So what's your high score on Angry Birds?" Tom could always take a joke, and boy, did he love giving it back to you too. He especially liked playing a part in pranking someone. I first met Tom in the Joliet office of Flexible Products in 1994, and I liked him immediately. He, unlike myself and some of the cast of characters at Flexible, was not an acquired taste. Think back to the time you first met Tom and raise your hand if you immediately liked him. I don't think Tom had a single enemy in this world, and I've never come across anyone who disliked Tom. To me, Tom was the consummate salesperson. Before I retired, I owned a business coaching and training company, and our motto was, "People buy from people who they like, trust, and with whom it is convenient to do business." Tom personified that motto. While preparing this, I made a list of things that describe Tom, and I'll wager many of you saw Tom in these ways too. Tom was an avid animal lover. Over the years, from his cats, Sammy and Lila, to his dogs, Ziggy and Maisie, he cared for and cherished the time he spent with the family pets. I found out recently that up until Tom's passing, Maisie would get a treat from Tom at midnight. So Sue, I hope you will continue the tradition that Tom set. Tom was fiercely loyal and had the backs of the wildly different personalities on the Great Stuff sales team. He always made sure they were awake and punctual for sales meetings. He was always defending them and pleading their case to management when they stepped out of line. And he invented the art of preventative leadership to keep them from getting into trouble in the first place. I guess he learned how to manage them from Sammy and Lila because he got good at herding cats. Tom was even-tempered and patient. His steady hand had a calming effect in tempestuous work and sales situations. Often he was the only voice of reason when tensions and tempers would rise. Tom was humble. But then again, being a golfer teaches you that every round you play. Finally, and I think this is the thing I will remember him most for, Tom just flat loved people. At Flexible Products and Dow Chemical, we were very lucky to be able to take customers, agency principals, and fellow salespeople out to great restaurants and have delicious meals, martinis, and wine. But the food and drink wasn't what Tom liked best. It was the camaraderie and friendships around the table after a long day on the trade show floor. It was the reminiscent storytelling and the jokes and the trivia questions that made the night memorable. I remember one such night in Aiken, South Carolina during Masters Week. A half dozen of us treated our Home Depot buyer, Rodney Hicks, to dinner at a Japanese steakhouse, you know, where they cook hibachi in front of you. We were seated at the table around the grill, and a young couple was seated with us. While Rodney was talking about the round of golf we had that day, the couple asked me if we were in town for the tournament. And I told them, "See that guy?" pointing at Rodney. He was the runner-up at the U.S. Amateur Championship, and he gets to play in the Masters this week. Tom, who was sitting next to me, overheard what I said and began to laugh. I introduced Tom as Rodney's dad. Jim Hutchinson was his caddy, Ron Rocket was his PR man, and I was his agent. The entire evening, everyone played the role I had assigned them. It was all in harmless fun, and we've retold that story dozens of times afterward. But the most important thing was that he made Rodney, our customer, the center of attention and feel special. The last time I spoke to Tom was just 2 weeks before he passed away. I had called him to share a sports trivia question I had heard and to remind him that it was the 10-year anniversary of Jim Hutchinson's passing. Tom sounded like his usual jovial self, and I had no idea that it would be the last time I would get to share time with him. When I called Sue to express my condolences, she told me the night before he died, Tom had a good dinner, a glass of wine, and watched the Cubs game in bed. All of the things he loved, and all on his terms. I'm really going to miss my friend. The world just won't be as much fun or as fun a place without him. Rest easy, Tommy Bahama, and I was there when he was given that name in Chicago. Please put in a good word for all of your friends here and watch over us from heaven. Oh, and if Notre Dame beats Navy this week, and if the Bears win the Super Bowl this year, we'll know you had a hand in that. We love you, Tom.